All right. So I've got two perspective concepts. Duchess came to me a while back and asked us to analyze Rock Quarry Road extension where the widening will dead end in 42 highway.
Okay.
To see what options are, where we could take it to help alleviate traffic. Before I get started, I want, and everybody know this is common sense, probably the next step in all this is very possibly a traffic study. So, because a lot of these options are just something that by experience I'm looking at, but we really need to analyze it from a traffic count standpoint, number of lanes, what we're gonna need. But I wanted to show you where we could possibly take it. So this first option, this is 42 here. North is actually to the left to fit it all on one page. If you look back here to the south, this is the connector at Carissa Drive, yes. So like I said, this is the intersection of 42 going north. Basically what we're proposing to do is to follow there's a small transmission line here that comes up through here. So we're following that with more or less 4 lanes. And then we're hooking the road up to Carissa. So when we get to here, we know the road's got to get to here. So you guys own this property here. This is the new, oh my gosh.
Tim Hortons. Coffee shop?
Tim Hortons, thank you.
Coffee shop.
Tim Hortons, thank you. So that is here and has been permitted, I believe. So there is room, as you can see, to the east of Tim Hortons for another out parcel. There's also room here for a marketable out parcel as well as this area here, which I believe the city owns all that. So when we get here, there's really only 2 options. We can go west or we can go east. Either way, presents its issues. So if I keep going north, this is Old Conyers Road on this end of the screen. So there's 2 ways to intersect with Old Conyers. This is where the traffic study kind of comes into play too. Right now I've got it dead ending in Old Conyers, which would probably result in a traffic signal. The other way you could do it is, which I have not drawn it this way, because like I said, this is very conceptual, is we could put a radius in here and basically make what is Old Conyers here tee into this road and keep that traffic moving and going to Old Conyers that direction, okay? If that makes sense. That is a possibility to do this.
Well, I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. But if you do that, how do you get people off this road, the extension that goes in a more southwesterly type of direction?
Well, if you want to go towards East Atlanta, is what you're saying?
Yeah, right.
That's my next option.
Okay.
So this is taking it to Old Conyers. Right now it's dead ending, which I strongly suspect there will be a signal. Traffic study will probably show that. Or we could radius this and keep it going on Old Conyers kind of to the northeast and keep traffic moving that way. Now my next option is probably this is the next option. As you can see here, this is what you were talking about, Mayor, trying to go towards East Atlanta and alleviate that traffic. So there's a street here. What's the name of that street? I don't have it on this. I had it on the other map. Now I don't know why I don't have that on here. Weird. So this is East Atlanta here. City Hall's over here. Yes. So another thing to keep in mind here is if you're following my cursor, this dark line, squiggly line on both sides is the floodplain of the river that goes behind the wastewater treatment plant. This is the treatment plant here, just to give you where we're at. So crossing that thing is a bear. So on the other design here, we're having to cross it, and that very likely could be a bridge. That will be costly. Several $1 million just to do the bridge by itself. So this other way I've gone is you don't need a bridge, not right now. anyway, because you're crossing over and getting on East Atlanta down here. Here's Old Conyers intersection. Publix is over here, off the page. Apologize for that. And we're merging and using the existing roadbed for Duval and coming around and getting Rock Quarry. And I do not draw it on here, but East Atlanta will be teed in at that point to East Atlanta will, the traffic will drop with the exception of probably when you're having events at City Hall. Because most people will continue straight down Rock Quarry. Once again, traffic study will show that and would analyze that. So there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts with these two plans that need to be resolved probably in a traffic analysis. I don't see any other way with current infrastructure, buildings, your wastewater treatment plant right here. I don't see any other way to get to Old Conyers other than kind of what I've showed you in that general area here. Because here's your treatment plant. You can't go through that. So, and we can't go west of that. So the only other way I could see that we could avoid it is to kind of use Duval and merge on to East Atlanta. That would keep traffic continually flowing from East Atlanta to Rock Quarry. That would probably, from a traffic standpoint, be the best case scenario. Now, you do have to go through Duval. Now, what I've proposed right now is basically Duval will just be a 2-lane road. And then we taper when we get over here to the kind of more commercialized area, and we taper it out to 4 lanes. I'm guessing right now, guys, because like I said, my advice would be the next step in this is to analyze traffic analysis on both these drawings, both these plans, to see what works, what can work, what do we got to do, where are the signals, so that sort of thing. So I didn't really see a third option to extend Rock Quarry straight. Not that's feasible. And even some of these, I mean, they've got a lot of questions.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, please.
Certainly, I think this project is a long-term project. Obviously, we want to get Rock Quarry Road widened first, and then kind of work our way toward this. I guess long-term, I would probably, and you might ask your opinion, it'd probably be a phased project. Maybe that first section that you see there that is the 4-lane might be built first, where it gives us access, and then that potential.
And you might not even have, if you phase it, so I see where you're going with that. So let's say we phased here and just connected here.
Right.
That would help you with, amphitheater traffic.
Right. And it would,
you could definitely do that. And if you did that, I would probably recommend you go ahead and build the 4 lanes, but the traffic analysis may not even show you need that at that point if you're not connecting it.
Right.
So yes, you could definitely phase that.
Right. And that way it would give us, as you said, all the people now that are trying to get down East Atlanta Road, they would have a real true out where they could get to this lane and get to Rock Quarry Road. And Rock Quarry Road would be 4 lanes because it'll be widened first in order to get us where we're going. Certainly, looking at this and understanding the bridge could be $10 million. I mean, by itself, right?
It could be, yeah.
So if you, just a rough ballpark, and I know, you hate doing this, but just a guess.
Yes, I hate doing this early.
I know, of the 2 routes, the difference between the 2 routes. We went this way to Old Conyers with the bridge, a ballpark figure, and then if we went to East Atlanta, a ballpark figure.
I think the ballpark figures, I would need to do more analysis to do that. But having said that, you're going to be the same. So you pointed out the bridge is the biggest financial difference. It could be upwards of 10 million because you see how wide that floodplain is. It's a big facility, and I don't see how we're going to put backfill of dirt in there. It's going to be a bridge, I think. So this obviously would be a massive increase in cost. In addition to, if you actually teed it into Old Conyers, very likely there would need to be a signal here. So that's another, $1 million plus for a signal here. Now, if you curved it in, then you would not probably need a signal right here. Old Conyers would then be teed in, and you wouldn't have that. So the biggest difference between the 2 plans is the massive cost of this bridge. This plan here, you obviously have, you're using Duval. So there's a cost here. There's no doubt, I feel like if this was able to be a 2-lane road extension, those houses could remain. Obviously traffic would be drastically increased. So there's, like I said, there's pluses and minuses to both.
Right. In terms of financing this is going to be multiple millions of dollars in order to finance this. I would think that right now we're in T-Splosh 1. I would think that it would probably take a T-Splosh 2 project where the voters approved another 1 cent sales tax and, put the millions of dollars that were necessary in order to complete this project. But that first phase because right now we have $2 million that is coming to us that was put in I think it's in the T-Splosh. It was $2 million. Oh no, the last splosh, $2 million were put in there. The county had $4 million that they took out. We kind of re-engaged them on those dollars to see whether or not we might be able to bring them back at some point. But that little spur to Cressa might really help us to be able to open up traffic through that area and then be able to provide the actual relief to East Atlanta for events. But the other section is probably be somewhere down the road. It will require a massive GDOT or T-Splosh contribution in order to even make it feasible with the millions that it would cost.
Yeah, I mean, the spitballing in today's numbers, just eyeballing it, knowing what we bid recently, you're probably talking 15 to 20 million, even for that option. And that's today, and then the bridge option will add 10 million to that. I mean, it's just, it is a lot.
That's our whole budget for the year. So
That's
again,
right.
It would take T-Splosh or a regular splosh a significant amount. So thank you. I'm done now.
Okay, 1 second, please, if you don't mind. I think the ultimate goal, one ultimate goal of this is to have some type of road network to connect us to the hospital, per se, to have some type of relief on Rock Quarry as you get to the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so my thought process is that what would make better sense when people are going to come off of East Atlanta, or they're going to come off more off Old Conyers in reference to this? I mean, it's a food for thought, because I'm thinking along those lines. That's one of the reasons why we want to do this, is we have a major hospital and the roads need to be expanded. So where will people be more or less connected to out of
That
East?
it screams East Atlanta to me.
Okay, well,
It
I'm
screams
just throwing
it.
this out there for conversation.
I think it helps not only that for the hospital traffic and getting traffic to the interstate. It also, I think, helps alleviate some of the back you might have on East Atlanta right in front of City Hall here.
Okay.
At the light, especially during peak hours. I mean, it's pretty nasty out there with the backup. It would relieve that a great deal, especially if you did the 4-lane intersection up here. So, and you guys have knowledge of this area too,
Right.
just like me.
Right.
To me, it makes sense that East Atlanta will provide the most.
Okay. Ms. Barber, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
And thank you. I always get you mixed up. What is your name?
Adam.
You're Adam. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Adam, this is my district.
Okay.
I know there's a whole lot of interest from others here. Their interest is in other things, but I'm responsible for the people in the area. And if they are going to be impacted, I want to be front and center, and I want to have some input in this. This project has been prolonged long enough. I remember back in 2010, I believe, the Board of Commissioners were talking about this area, extending the Rock Quarry Road. This is priority for me. I'd much rather invest our city's resources on this project, the Rock Quarry Road extension, all the way to Old Conyers Road. Ideally for me, I'd like to see East Atlanta Road be 4 lanes. We want to be able to flush out some of the traffic that's going to build in our downtown area. And cutting through Duval, it just doesn't seem like it's a good option, especially during the concert season when it's already heavily congested. And if people are traveling along East Atlanta Road and they want to use the Rock Quarry Road that cuts through Duval, they're just going to get backed up in the traffic. If there were the extension or this Rock Quarry Road extension connected to Old Conyers Road, at least those who are traveling down or traveling up East Atlanta Road from like the Fairview area, they would be able to turn left onto Old Conyers. And even the emergency vehicles, if they needed to go to the northern end of our county, they would be able to avoid all of the congestion from the downtown traffic. I like to stick with the original plan to extend Rock Quarry Road from North Henry all the way down to Old Conyers Road. Ideally, that's what I would like to see. And I'm okay with investing as much money, resources as necessary. I'd much rather invest it in the infrastructure and new roads than wasteful spending, where all we have are just pictures, memories of a good time. I want to see new roads and new infrastructure. I'm excited about this. Thank you, Mr. Aaron, for responding to my email and just my inquiry about the status of this. I'm excited, even though I know we're just discussing it at this point. But I'm excited about the possibilities. And I believe Mr. Malazzi mentioned it best at one of our meetings. You got to invest money to make money. This is one of them. If we invest in the money to build this road, it opens up opportunities for other developments to come along this route. That's just the way I see it. Can you go back to that? Is this it?
This is the one that goes to Old Conyers.
Okay. And yeah, we probably will need a traffic light there too. I was just thinking.
Well, it depends if you tee in or you just keep going around Old Conyers. There's ways to do that intersection to improve traffic flow.
Okay. And I know that we have some support on the federal level. We were able to get some federal dollars and discuss our plans for that pedestrian bridge. Where are we with that, Mayor Ford? Do you know?
Pedestrian bridge, you're talking about right here in the downtown area? Well, actually, we still have to get plans for that, as far as I understand. We had some initial thought process, but
Did they give us seed money for it?
excuse
At
me?
least for the design part of
Right,
it?
for the design piece. I don't think we fully designed that out that I recall. It's been designed out.
Well, we can certainly take that same route and request funding from our federal leaders to help us support this incredible new investment in our infrastructure right here in our downtown. So thank you, sir. I appreciate the update.
All right, any other question for Mr. Adam here?
I got a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Berry.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Ms. Berry.
I had a question. I'm leaning. I know this is this discussion right now as well. I'm kind of leaning toward the Old Conyers, but my question is centered around. I'm kind of like Councilwoman Barber, going through residential, connecting that. Kind of really, I already know what's going to happen with that. That's going to be a nightmare. But I am inquisitive about whether or not we can go the Old Conyers route, but also build arterial roads, arteries that'll connect to it to kind of alleviate, so that it does both. You get both bangs for your buck. That you can kind of tee into Old Conyers, but yet some of the Atlanta traffic can be teed into it with some of those residential roads. They won't feel like, oh, you ran this huge 4-lane road through my neighborhood, but however, I do have another way out.
Well, the only way, I mean, there's a way to do that. You either extend Duval
Yeah,
Where you
that's what I was
extend this
thinking.
road here.
Yeah.
So either way, you're going through an existing residential street and putting it as basically a collector street. You're gonna change the designation on it. But yeah, I mean, that's possible. You could go this route and just extend that road down like we did here. And that road goes straight out to East Atlanta.
And then what's the road to the north of that Duval? The next road up.
Oh, this road right here? Bryant.
Bryant. Yeah.
So you could do that too.
Those wetlands.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Yes, ma'am, go ahead,
Are
please.
those wetlands?
You're talking about in the floodplain?
Uh-huh.
More than likely, there's some wetlands in there, yeah. When you see a floodplain that big, that's one of the reasons, not only stormwater runoff related, you got so much water flowing through there, where you got a floodplain that big, you're probably gonna need a bridge. Another reason you're gonna need a bridge is you would be stuck if you would have wetland and stream credits that would probably be cost prohibitive for the project. So,
And I remember this project. I don't know if was it the Moss property involved. Me and it was somebody's property because me and Councilman Thomas used to talk about it back in 2013 before we got on council. Commissioner Holmes at the time was very interested in expanding this, and there was money that the county had to connect, but that money was used and moved and reallocated. So there is a lot of history behind it, but it's kind of cloudy in regards to the history of it. But I know that it was more of a county effort at the time, and it would come out of over by Old Conyers or East Atlanta Road at that point. However, you're talking about wetlands, you're looking at the topography of it in general, and I love the future planning of it. I don't know why it's here today, but I do love that we're bringing it back up and we're discussing it. I do know there's some history behind it, and that funds were allocated and then they were removed, but they weren't our funds. So those are a lot of issues and things that we have to discuss, and that's history that I learned back in 2013. So even before that, there was additional history way before I even considered it. So we would have to do a little bit more research on that. And then there's some property that is privately owned. There are some other, there are definitely a lot of challenges to that. But I appreciate the presentation.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Let me just say this. Basically, the long and the short of it is it's about $30 million that would be necessary to complete this project. It'd probably be more than that, but with future dollars. But what's really going on is that'll be about the equivalent what it's taking to widen Rock Quarry Road right now. And it took us almost 30 years.
that's been bid, right?
Yes, it's going to actually start, but it took.
I see them surveying it. I was wondering,
Right.
do y'all know what that cost?
If they awarded it, it should start within the next 90 days, I'm told.
I haven't seen it.
It was supposed to start in the next 90 days, I'm told. But the idea that it took 25 years in order to get the road built tells you how long-term this is. And as the council starts to think about this, is building this one the priority, or is flipping road the priority? Which one is more important to us, flipping or this particular project right here? And that's why I say the phases might be the phases of building this road, where you built the first part, which is 4 lanes initially, and then, because as you said, in understanding what we've been through to build anything, when you try to go across those wetlands, then you got to deal with the Army Corps of Engineers and the federal regulations if you get the money, right? It's going to be painstaking and years before that would happen. But if you looked at it and said, okay, well, we built that first section, there's no stream, there's no barrier, it's on city-owned land, that would be the phase that we could actually effectuate pretty quickly, because it's extensionally going to be the same no matter which choice that we make. But at the same time, this has to fit into our long-term plans, because I would think that some of the other projects that we got to consider is Flippin Road needs widening now, and it's an existing road, and this is a new road. So I would say probably the first portion of this, that we could build it without having to wait 30 years in order to build it, and then go to, having overall projects. To me, if we're looking at the next T-Splosh, we would be talking about the first phase of this, and then Flippin Road, because you're not going to get 35 or $40 million from the federal government. It's going to have to come mostly from us working with the county. Thank you.
Now, let me ask you this, Adam. I should know the answer to this, but when you take the route to Old Conyers, there are several different property owners during that time frame. You have to get the right of ways or
With
things
the
of that
Western
nature
Parallel
from those
Connector,
individuals or buy some land. Is that correct?
If I recall right from my brief research in the tax records, I believe the same one that owns this piece owns this piece.
Okay.
I believe.
to sell it to
So
us in 2019,
you'd probably mostly be
this
dealing with
one
one. You may be dealing with a corner here, Mayor, but all this is yours.
Right. I understand that part. But I want, when you continue to go north to Old Conyers,
Yeah.
those are property owners there that you have to deal with in this aspect to negotiate with them to get the right of ways and to purchase that from them, provided that they're willing to play, I suppose. And a bridge, right on top of that as well. Okay. And so we're discussing this, but you mentioned about a traffic study. So one of the things that need to come out of this before we go any further was whether or not we want to do a traffic study or not, and how to go about that, and what that would cost us to do that in this aspect, I'm assuming.
I don't have a quote on that ready, but I
Okay.
can certainly provide Mr. Aaron one through the consultant we work with on all your projects.
All right.
And the question is the scope of it.
Right.
Would you just want to analyze the connection to Old Conyers one way or the other?
Well, that'd be
And
the
that's
council.
it.
The council needs to discuss that, but I just want to put that out there because I think that's one of the things you mentioned. I thought we need to discuss that. On that note,
One more
what's that-
thing. One more thing. Real quick, we did approve a plan. Mr. Anderson's already left for that particular area, a master plan. So hopefully, if that corridor is developed along with the Tim Hortons Coffee, the developer could help us build or design, help us contribute to build that first section, because if they built that neighborhood
master
in there,
plan this?
it was multifamily, it was townhomes, single-family homes, and then the Tim Hortons commercial park up front. That's the concept that was completed. And then, it's certainly if a developer came in, it certainly would be in their best interest to help us build this section of the road.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just as Mr. Grant, who was in here earlier, built Chin Parkway.
Right.
I mean, same deal. Probably not quite as much commercial as as the Jodica development, but similar analogy.
Well, what this is really another Western Parallel connector, you know what I mean? It's
It is.
raw land, you're trying to connect these two entities, and the Western Parallel connector costs about $50 million. I know you're just throwing some numbers out there, but this is basically what they did. That section from Hudson Bridge to Jodica. Yeah.
Basically was, parallel
Right, absolutely. It's another Patrick Henry Parkway,
The widening of a Rock Quarry Road alone is $53 million, the widening.
53?
So $53 million for the widening of Rock Quarry Road, what's going on right now. And $4 million was from, of course, we came from Stockbridge, but 10.9 came from Henry County and recovering the main and 10.9 mil, and then you had GDOT and federal funds of 20.4 mil for that particular project that they expect to complete in 2028. But the total amount of that project, just the widening of the lanes, was $53 million. I beg to differ. I think that Western Parallel is probably way double than that. I mean, you're looking at the mileage and to the extreme of going from from Eagles Landing all the way down to Jonesboro from scratch.
But sometimes
Great.
when you're widening a road that has that much infrastructure on it, you got to think about all the demolition and moving of utilities you got to do. I mean, that is an uber mess. Rock Quarry Road, especially out there in front of the hospital, widening all that. Don't underestimate the cost of doing all that through that heavy commercialized area up to the top of the hill where before you get to Red Oak. I mean, that is way more costly than doing new raw land development. Way more.
Really?
Oh, yes.
What
because
about with
they
that
have so much
bridge?
infrastructure out there, they're going to have to move. And what about the parking lots they got to demo and rebuild? Because, I mean, there's parking lots that are so close to the road. When they widen that thing, I mean, it's chaotic.
Okay. All right, Ms. Barber, go ahead, please.
I wanted to, ask Mr. Edmondson, so, for our
Sean,
retreat,
Ms.
'cause I
Edmondson,
want
could you come to mic,
I
please?
want to continue the
please.
discussions. I want to continue discussions regarding this project. I do not want to put it on the back burner anymore. For me, just for me, I don't know what they're gonna do. This is a priority for me. So can you, during the retreat, just provide us with some options of how we can move forward with funding this, whether it's SPLOST, that kind of thing? So just give us a general idea of, how we can fund it and what the cost will be. Mr. Adam can share that, I guess. Right?
Yeah, I could just say from just looking at it, this is definitely a regional project. It's got to be all hands on deck. This type of project affects everybody around us. So that would be the first approach, I would say, just looking at it and just seeing who will be on board and how that this project can, enhance their traffic. Everybody's dealing with traffic. Everybody's dealing with some type of issue. I think us taking a deeper dive in it and pitching it in a way to get more people on board is the best course of action to get this type of project off the ground. This is definitely a regional project. So that would be something that we can look into and get with neighboring cities and different things of that nature and just seeing who can come on board with us, and as well as federal funding, state funding, going forward to get this project underway. But this is a significant project,
Yes,
probably one of the biggest ones we're probably going to have in a while. So I just believe that this is definitely a regional project that we should be soliciting partnerships with this.
Yeah, definitely partnerships. If I can just add, because somebody mentioned it, I want to start thinking in terms of what we can do, I think it was you, what we can do to build new roads. Not just maintain what we have, we need new roads. Our population is increasing, of course. More traffic, more cars are on the roads. Of course, we have our master trail plan that we're rolling out. But I think it's still a good idea for us to start looking at ways that we can give more options and just enhancing and improving some of the roads that we have. Flippin Road, I really believe it should be 4 lanes. Walt Stevens Road really should be 4 lanes. Now, I know there's that I-75 bridge, both that crosses over Flippin and Walt Stevens, but those are the kind of major projects that I really want the council to take more seriously and start looking at what we can do to fund these major infrastructure projects. That is what my focus is. That is my priority, infrastructure, not just maintaining what we have.
Well, the great news is we're coming up upon a budget season, and these are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. And I just want to be mindful as I'm going through here, getting all the reports with all the different projects, various projects that's been going on for 5 years, 10 years, 3 months, 6 months. There's a lot out there, and I just want to make sure that we are mindful and that we are looking at the comprehensive plan, the trail plans, all these things. Make sure we're not stepping on each other and we building out smart. And I'm tasking my team, hey, take a look at all the projects that we got. We just got to put a board up and just really map this stuff out. There's been a significant amount of projects that's been talked about in the last 3 years. And I'm just afraid that if we continue to keep adding, we're trying to do everything. That's the fastest way not to get nothing done. And we just got to recalibrate ourselves, I believe, as we going into this next budget cycle to truly identify what is the priority. And that's going to be a challenge, I think, for all us to really roll up our sleeves and consider. All these projects that we're talking about are great ideas. They are fantastic. But I think to truly get these things done regarding our funding and what we're looking like, we have to be serious about what are the priorities when we're talking about these things. And sometimes it's the low-hanging fruit. What can we do now in the next 6 months to a year, which is a multiple different projects that we've been talking about, or walk and chew bubble gum. It may be one of those instances where the larger projects, we're working on them, building it out for the next couple of years. But we definitely need to be intentional when we're talking about these projects and the likelihood of them getting accomplished. So there's a lot. So I just want to kind of put that out there because, once again, budget season is upon us, and these are some of the discussions that we are going to be talking about in the retreat and trying to get after a lot of this stuff that we're talking about.
So this actually, okay, this is actually part of the discussion. So I guess my point is, I don't know if we want to continue this discussion during the retreat or whether or not we want to talk about some particular guidance in reference to traffic studies, which concept north, south, whatever the case may be, or how you want to desire the council right now, which desire, or even you city managers, what direction you think we need to go here?
Well, I mean, this is already underway. We at the 30%. The next meeting, I believe, is the 60%. For this, is this the same one? No. Say, different project. More to follow. Y'all can continue discussion.
Well, right now, excuse me if I could, all we have is $2 million for a $40 million, $50 million project. So what we got to do is we keep, like you said, we got to stay focused. The deal is there's a vote that was taking place on what the priorities are. Until there's another vote, those are the priorities. Those are the marching orders.
I wouldn't say that.
Certainly we'll have different discussions as we go about it in the fall to be able to refine what we're doing. But in terms about talk about tearing up the plan and starting all over again, all that does is just slow down the progress. I think we voted that the youth and the recreation center was going to be #1 project, and that's what we're going to do. Certainly, that's a long-term project in itself. But when you spend money somewhere else, you may be taking it from the recreation center. But certainly, we know Quarry Road is moving forward, is fully funded. There is a T-SPLOST list with transportation projects already on it that the voters told us that they wanted. They've already voted for them already, not us. The voters voted for these projects to move forward in priority 1, priority 2. We put it out there. They said, this is what we wanted. And we're fulfilling them in that order. And as you said, regional-wise, we can't afford to do these projects in a silo. If the county's not on board with it, it's dead or the state is dead because we need their help. We talking about $50 million. There's no way we'd have been able to do the Western Parallel Connector by ourselves. Again, that was GDOT, there's federal, there's state, and there's a county, private too, in order to get involved for a $50 million project. That is a long-term project, and certainly we can lay the groundwork for it, but will we see it? This will be a tree that we plant that we don't get to enjoy the shade from, probably. But as we look forward to, and I always like to call it back to what the vote is. There's a vote by this council on what were the priorities. Until there's another vote to change that, those will remain the priorities until there's a subsequent vote in order to change it.
Ms. Barber, go ahead, please.
Okay, so I want to remind everyone, when the council voted on the priorities in our retreat of March of this year, we voted on it based on what we knew our revenues were. It wasn't, so when I voted to approve, and let me be clear, the Youth and Senior Center is a priority. It will remain a priority for me, but everything else, I got question marks across all of them. We learned after our retreat, after we voted on the priorities, that $32.9 million was mismanaged. So our financial situation has changed. So should those priorities that we voted on prior to us knowing what our financial status was. It would be irresponsible of me to say that the priorities that we made in February or March is still the same. That would be very irresponsible. All I'm asking, at the retreat, let's continue the discussions on what all of the projects that staff knows of, that staff has been working on, or what have been approved in 2010, 2008, 2012, when Councilman Alexander came on the council, all those projects that they've been talking about prior to me, prior to Mr. Barry, let's discuss all of those at the retreat so that we can have a good idea of where we are and the directive that we can give to you, Mr. Edmondson. Right now, it's a whole lot of wish lists from staff, whole lot of wish lists from every member of this council. I think we owe it to you to make sure that the path forward is clear for you. So I don't care how many times you hear a particular council member keeps talking about the priorities that was approved earlier this year. That was before this council was made aware of $32.9 million that was mismanaged. That changes everything. So please, sir, let's continue the discussions during the retreat. Of course, I got high hopes with this Quarry Road extension, but even I know we've got to take a look at everything. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. So otherwise, Mr. Edmondson, we talked about earlier about getting with the staff and getting all the projects to kind of lay things out, get an understanding of that. And obviously, we'll have our budget retreat in next month, late next month, I think it is now. So we'll have that discussion. So obviously, this particular project, along with everything else, will probably be discussed during that time frame.
Right, absolutely. And I mean, and I think for me, what I'm seeing is it's a whole lot of things have started. We spent money on studies and surveys and stuff, and things just don't go nowhere. And I think that's what I'm trying to avoid. That's what I'm trying to pause, stop, roll our sleeves up, because yesterday's prices ain't today's prices, and it is different. And I want us not to be unclear about that. So I am challenging the staff. Hey, look, let's pause. Let's see what we're working on, what's been approved by vote, and what has not been approved by vote, and just recalibrating everybody and refocusing, because that money issue is something of concern. What you was tracking in March is different from what we're tracking today.
All right.
And
Mr. Aaron, you want to transfer it over?
That's all I have, unless Councilman Alexander or anybody else
We'll start the presentation.
have any questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Name for us.
My name's Adam Price, managing partner with Falcon Design, 235 Corporate Center, Stockbridge. As you can see on the screen, this is one of our 3 routes I believe we showed you several months ago. There was a route going as an option just to share with the Duval residents. That route was eliminated. Council said they did not want to go that route that night. So from what you see here is just a route to Old Conyers. Part of the task that Decius asked me for was obviously a proposal to get through preliminary engineering for you guys to actually get a better idea of what this might cost. Because as I mentioned several months ago, crossing this creek, which you can see, if you can see my arrow here, is a large floodplain. These dark lines are floodplain. This is a stream. There's a potential that we might have to do a bridge to cross this. And of course, that can be very expensive, but I don't know that until I get through preliminary engineering. And then at that point, this is what this proposal does. It gets you to the point where, hey, I got a really good idea what this is going to cost now. And then if the council at that point says, hey, okay, we want finished shovel-ready plans, then I can take it to final engineering and be done. But we went this route because I didn't know if there's a bridge required until we do the hydraulic analysis of the stream. So that was one of the reasons. And also to kind of give you guys an example, where this is coming out at Old Conyers on this side, I mean, it could come either side of this pond. We really don't know. We're going to do the best route, least disturbance. And obviously we have to do a traffic study up front to determine this. So all part of the process, going through more or less the GDOT process of road design. So before you is kind of the route we're going to analyze first. But either way, it's going to discharge on the Old Conyers, as you guys suggested to me last year. The Duval option is not on the table and not going to be analyzed, just so everybody knows. So if you guys have any questions, please.
Thank you, sir. Any questions from council?
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
Now, and as we talked about this last year, and we talked about what the project cost was going to be, you had a preliminary cost for us, and what you thought you was a ballpark. I think you said 40 million or something.
Yeah, we were spitballing at that point. I had not sat down and done any. I mean, when you're talking about a bridge, that's millions of dollars right there. If you don't have to do a bridge, it can save you millions. That's when I kind of told you guys, yeah, it's going to be a lot of money. Sure, it will be. Any road is.
Right, but what I'm saying to you is that in terms of what this, as the person who put the $2 million in the T-Splice
Yes.
with Mr. Knighton at a table, that we actually put this project on
Yes.
there, we knew that it was going to be a long-term project, that something
Sure.
done in the interim, that it was going to take millions of dollars, and us working with GDOT to be able to form it. That's why I say, why is it on the table at this point? Because even though we're certainly moving forward with, at some point, we have so many other projects that we're working on that we're going to be discussing at the retreat. Somehow this one got pushed ahead of the retreat. But again, the problem in the route that you have selected, there's going to have to be some property acquisitions involved too, correct?
Absolutely. And
Right.
part of the preliminary engineering stage will determine how much.
Right, and once you finish with the details that you have to work on, certainly there's a couple of different options that we could work on, because as we look at this, we'll need a long-term plan, and then we'll need a short-term plan too. Because as we're looking to move this up, we have the new Tim Hortons Coffee that's going to be going at this location there. Now, certainly
That is actually shown on here, right here, Councilman, right here.
right, so they'll be entering from the front side there, but certainly as we move along, we might not be able to build the entire road, but certainly to get that first little section of the road built to allow egress and ingress to the amphitheater, and then to allow for a mix of the mixed-use development that we're going to have, or that is proposed. Ryan, we've actually kind of, could you come to the podium too as well? We had an approved plan right there as behind, that you had recommended behind the Tim Horton, that included a townhome development and some other property as well, mixed use.
Yes, that's correct. It was part of when we rezoned the property sometime last year. It was like 33 units, townhomes and single-family residence.
Right, but no one has made any discussion whatsoever as we were talking about going down through the middle of this neighborhood. We've had, as been stated before, there has never been a preferred route or a route. At some point, as we do these concepts, Mr. Price and Mr. Ryan, every option is presented when you're talking about a project that might be 15 or 20 years from here. But when that was presented to the council was like, no, we didn't want to do that, and that was taken off the table. So everybody here can rest assured that that was not the plan, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Right, but as we move along down this channel to do Rock Quarry Road widening extension, the design is to basically, as has been indicated, is to basically have a bypass to correct the traffic on East Atlanta Road. because now you got to get off the Rock Quarry, come to East Atlanta, stop, get at the traffic light. This is to move you around that area, get you out to Old Conyers, which is near the periphery of the city, so that traffic can continue to flow smoothly. Is that the objective?
Yes, that's the objective.
And if you're looking at this project, Mr. Price, once you look at what you're looking at, and then understanding, and Mr. Aaron as well, what type of timetable are you looking at in terms of if this did move forward, we will be looking at? Because in order to fund it, we'd have to get GDOT funding. We'd have to, obviously, residents would have to approve the next T-Splosh, and this council would have to put it in the next T-Splosh. So there'll be a significant amount of funding that would be required for it. Again, I sat down with Mr. Knighton to put this original $2 million in there to do exactly what we're doing today, and to perhaps build the first little portion there so that we could open up that area to the residential and the mixed use as well in downtown.
So I think the question was how long, if we're initiated to go?
If you looked at this in a time frame, and you know how transportation project, you wouldn't expect anything to happen in the next few years, would you?
As far as funding it?
Construction.
Well, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of y'all's budget mechanism, but, you know,
Well, that
doubtful,
question
because
was,
it's going to take us a year to even get the full design done.
right.
Preliminary design could be done obviously this year, and that would give you a basis of making a further decision with a cost estimate that we would provide you. So yeah, I mean, you know, it would take you months to get right away. You know, just if you had the money sitting in a pile right now, you know, you probably wouldn't be able to start construction on this probably for upwards of 2 years. And that's in a perfect scenario. If the money is way over here and it's available to you, that's just the way the process. Design, right-of-way acquisition, and then bidding, and then start of construction.
Yeah, as you say, but the money is not sitting over there in a pot. So basically, in my estimation, maybe 8 to 10 years at the earliest, seeing that, you know, we just talked about the I-75 project and it starting and going through environmental. As you say, there's a bridge there, so the feds are probably going to have to be involved in a lot of other things as well. But I appreciate it, and certainly we want to be able to put these residents. And the one final question, Ryan, did anybody from the city put anything on these folks' doors? Anybody from the city?
No, not that I'm aware of. It was in my department. We usually put out the public notifications.
Mr. Aaron, did anybody from the city, from the Public Works Department, go out and put anything on the door or provide any communication to these residents?
No, sir.
Thank you.